Welcome to Purpose. I'm your host, Corie Clark. I'm just a normal girl who decided to go for it. I created a thriving business from the ground up without sacrificing my sanity, and I believe that you can do the same. You were created on purpose, for a purpose, and I fully believe you can turn that purpose into profit. Each week, I'm going to bring you practical advice to help you live your life and grow your business on purpose. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to another week of Purpose. I'm your host, Corie Clark, and I am so thankful that you are here. If you have not done so yet, would you do me a huge favor and subscribe to the show and leave me a review? I would so appreciate it. It just helps me to know what you guys love listening to so that I know what kind of episodes to bring you in the future. So today's episode, I am interviewing my dear friend, Tiffany Lee Bymaster, aka Coach Glitter. Now, Tiffany is just amazing, and her bio would probably take me like 10 minutes to read, but I'm going to read you a little bit of it so that you can know a little bit about the amazingness that she does. So Tiffany has worked in the production world as a makeup artist, a wardrobe stylist, and a set designer for nearly 2 decades in film, TV, commercial, runway, as well as with top online marketers, authors, and speakers. She has built her own personal brand from the ground up. In the online space, she was a blogger, a business consultant, an affiliate marketer, an educator, and a camera confidence coach. She has an online course called Lights Camera Branding, and it combines her vast knowledge of experience working behind the camera and helping her clients look and, most importantly, feel their personal best. Tiffany is obsessed with coaching her students to gain clarity in their brand, skyrocket their confidence, and increase their visibility through the power of live video in the online marketing space. Okay, you guys. This interview is amazing, and going live online is something that kind of freaks me out, and I have applied so much of what Tiffany teaches, and she truly has given me so much more confidence. She teaches me how to use better lighting so that I look better, I feel better, and she is just like the queen of all things live video. So if you have a business and you are not using live video yet, you definitely want to listen to this. And if you are, you still want to listen because I guarantee you she is going to give you some tips that you are probably not implementing yet. So without further ado, here is my interview with Tiffany. All right, you guys, I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend Tiffany, aka Coach Glitter. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me on. And before we begin, I just want to say I am so excited for you and your new podcast and how you're leveling up everything that you're doing. I love seeing amazing people just continue to win and serve their audience.
Oh, thank you. I actually am really, really loving it. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. So, okay, Tiffany and I met through my mastermind leader, right? Through Colin, and I just fell in love with her. She's absolutely amazing. And I actually had been following her for a long time, but we got to meet in real life that way. And so she is not only like an amazing entrepreneur, she's also just the real deal and a great friend. So I just am so excited to connect with you and let my audience learn from you because you are the queen of live video.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say. And I love that we have such great mutual friends in common. And I'm in a different mastermind that Colin's in with Sarah that we've been in a few years with James Wedmore. So it's amazing how your circle of influence spreads out and who you know. It really is true that your net worth is totally dictated by your network, which
Totally.
is because I'm an INTJ, complete hermit, not even an introvert. Hermit. I'm sitting in my closet right now, as you know, but it's so important to get out there and get out of your comfort zone. Even if that's not your thing, it's certainly not my thing, but a few times a year, you got to get out, see people, go to right live events, and amazing things happen. Like I wouldn't be here right now on your podcast had I not shown up that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree. And um, I am an ENFP, but I truly like it's weird because I can be very introverted. It's hard for me to like put myself out there and meet new people. But once I do, I am like life of the party, let's go. But yeah, same. If I had not been in Colin and Sarah's mastermind, we may have never officially connected. And the people that I've been able to connect with through them, through you. It's so true. And it comes down to who you know. And it's not like you need to know someone famous. You just need to know the right people and get
Absolutely.
connected.
And I think it's so powerful what the power of the good things that you can accomplish and happen through social media, which is initially where we first met. And now I'm obsessed with your planner. It's something that I use every single day. And I had to tell everybody about it. So it's something that I promoted in my blog last year. And it's just amazing, like all the positive things that could come about. And it starts online. And I think it's so important that when we're business owners, whether you have physical products, you are a coach, you have digital products, Corey's doing all of the above. So important that we, of course, have to become known and seen. And what I love about social media is that you do not have to be a celebrity. You don't have to have a PR team. You just need to get in front of the camera and show up on Instagram. And there's lots of different methods to do all the things to get seen and known and heard so that people can fall in love with you and trust you so that you can offer all the amazing things that we have to improve their lives. That we shouldn't be scared to sell because selling is serving, like Colin always says. And
Yes.
it's so very true. The things that we have to offer people, our products, our services, our coaching, we should be shouting that from the rooftop. But before we do that, we have to really earn their trust. We have to establish what it is that we want to be known for. What the heck do we want to be known for? And it isn't just about showing up on social media and being 100% about what you sell. I actually do it very differently. I am truly about making real connections with real people and having good old fashioned relationships. And I do that. And I think and I know the fastest way for anybody to do that, to go from 0 to 100, is through live video. And I've been online for a really long time, but it wasn't until I showed up on live video that I really exploded my business and my brand. And I started doing it intentionally. So a lot of people may not know, I first started off offline. I have been to date a little over 22 years. I started off as a wardrobe stylist and makeup artist, and then ultimately makeup and doing set design. But I worked first in fashion, and then I went into the production world with film and television and commercial. I worked with Shalane Johnson for 12 years, but I was always the behind the scenes girl. I was
Yeah.
never in front of the camera. And when I started using first MySpace, then Twitter, and then this thing called Facebook. I think my first Facebook post, because you know how it shows you the memory.
Yes. Yes.
My first Facebook post was, "Now we're gonna do this thing." MySpace. It was like,
Yes. I'm sure I said something similar, like, okay, I guess I'm doing this, something like that. But you are aging us a little bit talking about MySpace.
that's where it started. And
Yes.
that was way before I even had the idea, even an inkling that I would have a business online, because I loved what I did offline. It's what I've been at that point, like 10 years in, loving it. Couldn't even imagine I'd be doing anything else. But when I started using social media to share a little bit more about what it is that I'm doing in that business offline, people apparently had an interest in it. And I was just sharing really behind the scenes of what it's like to be on set, the makeup and the clothes that I was steaming that day and with little things like that. We often dismiss what we do on a daily basis. We think we are so boring. We have nothing to share. But that's how I started over 8 years ago. That's how I started. And it started with a blog on MySpace because I kept on getting the same questions again.
Mhm.
What's that lip gloss that you use? Where'd you get those shoes for that client? They never saw me though. They just saw my clients' photos. This was before video got big.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw lots of images of like my makeup setup on set and all the things, but except for my face. They never saw my face, but they did see my clients' faces. And then when Instagram came out, I built an audience really quickly because people were really fascinated with the makeup and the styling world. It could seem really, really glamorous, but I showed like the good stuff, the bad stuff, the real stuff, schlepping all of my kits and my makeup and all that wardrobe all the time. And it wasn't always glamorous. And I worked 15-hour days. And there were amazing moments, but I showed all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the real. And I built an audience that way. And I didn't even know at the time that I was creating what we all look for now, engagement and conversations. And it's because I was just showing up consistently and real, and people got to know me, they got to like me, they got to trust me. And then I started doing affiliate marketing and I made 6 figures my first year.
Wow.
Kind of sucks when you hear someone say they didn't really have a big intention to start that kind of but it didn't happen overnight because I'd already been building my audience slowly without really knowing it at that point. But that's how I started. And then it snowballed into so many different things. But it wasn't until Periscope and live video came out that was the first time that I showed up on any kind of video. And when I did, it was like, wow, that little audience I had built, not huge, still, just maybe a couple thousand, but really engaged few thousand people. But when I did live video, they got to hear me for the first time. They got to like actually see me and not just like my hand doing makeup or the side of my head, but they
Yeah.
really see the person. And I think it's so important for all of us as personal brands, regardless of what it is that you sell or offer. We are personal brands. And we
Mm-hmm.
can't just be about the thing that we sell all the time. That's boring. Would you want to follow someone who only promotes all the time
Oh, no.
what it is that they sell? Like we don't love that. And so we don't follow people like that, but we do follow people who add, some kind of valuable content into our lives. And content, I know people get so hung up on that, but it's just you, being real, being a personal or a lifestyle brand, a mix of those things, while you also talk about the things that are related to what it is that you sell and offer.
That is so true. And I love that because so many times I get caught up in the like, oh my gosh, what am I going to post about this week? Oh my gosh, like I got to schedule a Facebook Live. What am I going to talk about? And it's so silly because I could sit and talk for hours about things that are important to me and how they relate to my business. But when I like try to plan it out, I freeze.
That
So
is
how do you plan your content? Do you have a plan or
I think that's one of the most important things, is that we want to be consistent and we want to figure out what is our consistent weekly content that we are creating. And so
Mhm.
whether it's podcasting or live video or a combination of the two, because here's the thing, I know podcasting is the super cool, sexy thing right now. And I love being a guest, but right now I don't have any intentions of creating a podcast because one of my superpowers is that I can be laser focused on one thing. Like I had the
Mhm.
same course, which has evolved in a million thousand ways. We can talk about that in a little bit, but it's evolved so much. But it's my one thing that
Yeah.
I've gone all in for nearly 3 years now. It's going to be our 3-year anniversary of my live video course and coaching program, Lights Camera Branding, next month. And because I was laser focused, I have been able to build just under a 7-figure annual business,
Wow.
one thing, and going all in on that. But we need that one weekly consistent content piece that
Mhm.
serve our audience, that we used to use it to build our list and to be able to educate, and not just educate, but add some entertainment value and something amazing to people's lives. Give them a reason to consistently look for your content, whatever that's going to look like, whether it's video or podcast or a combination. But if you're going to blog consistently. If you're going to do a podcast, do it consistently, because most people, they don't set that intention, which now I do completely, because I'm like, once I realize that there's something to this, that I'm not just going to show up every now and then when I feel like it on live video. When I realized, for me to get out of my comfort zone, and it's not about me at all, it's about the people that I can help and impact and change their lives and help build their businesses. When I realized that I had the ability to do that, the fears and the worries and the things that would hold me back in the past, it was no longer about me. And I always focused on, can I help one person? And for me, it was through live video. And so that allowed me to show up so consistently over and over and over again. In the beginning, when my live videos were sideways and terrible and I didn't know what I was saying. And the thing is, I love live video because while you're doing it, not only are you serving your audience and you're building the most engaged audience who really they get to know you so quickly, so
Yeah.
much faster than any other medium, that you're building that audience so effortlessly because you get better in your speaking skills, which is amazing. I can't believe like all the different speaking opportunities that I get now, which is crazy because I grew up as a stutterer when I was a younger, and when I was a kid, still comes out a little bit when I get excited or think too quickly. I got to
Yeah.
slow down. I'm a fast talker, or when I'm nervous, it comes out, and it's no big thing, especially with live video because there's no expectation for perfection versus recorded video, which I love video of any kind. Social media, especially Facebook, really, really highly favors, still to this day, even more so, video. But now we have all different forms of video. We've got short form video with stories on both Facebook and Instagram, but still live video for business building purposes. It is, and I just want to encourage everybody to make it an integral part of your overall social media strategy. If you're launching anything, this is your key strategy to lower your Facebook costs, because what you can do with video that you cannot do with images or written posts. And to really all those people who are dismissing Facebook right now, if you are a business owner, you can't think about just popularity. You got to really think about profitability. And
Yeah.
as a business owner, even all those people we know who are the total Instagram experts out there, they haven't abandoned Facebook because they are using Facebook, especially Facebook Live, maybe once a week in order to build those audience views. And that is what brings your lowered costs for Facebook. It also allows you to create custom audiences based on anybody watching as little as 3 seconds on your videos. And so
Crazy.
imagine how much more targeted that is versus doing what everybody else is doing. If you don't do video, then your only thing that you could do is, let's say you don't have a customer email list. Maybe you don't have a big email list in general, but other than those typical things that the rest of the people are doing, and they're really limited to thinking about, oh, I think my ideal customer avatar, they probably follow this person and this person. I'm going to target Marie Forleo and Amy Porterfield and James Wedmore like everybody else is.
Yes.
And ads, it's a bidding war, and so you're bidding against each other, and that's why ad costs have been going up steadily every single year. They're certainly not going to get cheaper. They're
Yeah.
very, very affordable, and it's something that nowadays we cannot rely 100% on organic growth, especially when we're launching something. If you're doing a live launch,
Mm-hmm.
ads are a huge part of it. So it's so important to build your audiences and really do your live videos in between your launches. A lot of people, they decide to start doing live video just as they are about to promote something. And that is a really tough time when you have a million other things to think about, to also then begin thinking about, like, how am I going to do live videos all of a sudden? But imagine how much more effective you will be and the audience you're going to grow if you prioritize doing live video in between your launch periods. I can't emphasize that enough because we want to constantly be showing up for our audience. And to really do that effectively, it's something that you want to do all the time. You just don't want to show up when you have something to sell.
Yeah, that is so true. And I'm so glad that you talked about that. And like, seriously, I am like learning from you because I definitely have not used live video as much as I should at all. Like, I am guilty of it, but I have definitely, like, I've made the commitment. Like, I am going live once a week from this day forward. It was so funny because I finally had one planned and I was going to go yesterday, and then Facebook shut down. So I was like, no, I'm doing this. So I did it today, but it is true. And I've always heard, oh, well, your video audiences get such great, those are like the cheapest. But I think for me, I had moved from, I was, only selling the planner and physical product. And I kind of had like really good campaigns set up for that and retargeting and kind of like how any e-commerce store would set up. And they were great. But once I started really trying to build my personal brand, I had a hard time like pivoting from in that mindset of like physical product ads to like brand, Corie Clark ads. So I feel like I'm a little late to the game there, and I'm trying to not be bummed because I've missed out on stuff. I'm just excited about moving forward and going live and building those audiences.
That's you are not too late. So not too late to do live video, because I think what happens with most average and unsuccessful entrepreneurs is that they attempt to do live video 3-4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get into that head game and into that wrong mindset that, oh my gosh, because I'm not instantly famous, because I didn't get a viral video on my first live video, that they give up. And the thing is that video of any kind, whether you're going to create YouTube videos, I mean, which is even tougher, but it's not too late to start that either.
Mm-hmm.
But if you focus on live video, I think the beauty is that so many people don't stick with it. That when I see my students who create thriving businesses and they have successful launches from the get-go, from their first beta, it's because they've been building their audiences, and not just building any old audience. Again, it's not about vanity numbers, but it truly is about quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And when you create an engaged audience, Facebook loves you, because think about what you're doing. What Facebook wants is to keep people on their Facebook platform.
Mm-hmm.
And while so many people are saying it's all about Instagram, and I'm like, no, it's not if you're a business person. That while I love it when people are abandoning the platform and they eventually come back, but it's not true that for most of us, depending on who our ICA is, who our ideal customer avatar is, most of them are still spending quite a bit of time on Facebook. There are some exceptions, like if you have a really, really young crowd, or if you have mostly a professional crowd that's maybe corporate, there might be exceptions, but even then they probably have some presence on Facebook. And for advertising purposes, to really lower your costs, and to, on top of that, simultaneously grow an audience of people who love you and like you and know what you're about, and you have real engaging conversations, Facebook will reward you for that. The longer you keep people on the Facebook platform, they're going to give you more organic reach naturally and more organic engagement. And the best way to do that is through live video. They highly favor live video still. And for most people, I tell my students, you want to shoot for as close to 70% video content on your business page.
Okay.
And that can be in the form of many different, it could be a simple boomerang. I post lots of those. It's a video. Anything where you can get people to comment and to like and to share, which is all what engagement is. Reach isn't as important. Reach just means that your post, your content showed up in their newsfeed, but they didn't take any action. What we want is engagement. And imagine, like, on your live videos, when you're asking the right questions, when you're having a conversation, just like you said, that even though you're an extrovert, but sometimes you feel a little bit more like an introvert. But once you get going, you can have a conversation and be the life of the party. It's the exact same thing. And the only barrier of entry that we have is that we don't really have one. You can go live from your phone, and instead of connecting with people in person, we're doing it across our laptops and our phones. And it's amazing the relationships you can create. It's why when you meet people finally in person, you feel like you already know them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love this so much. Okay, so I have a question about, like, let's say someone's brand new, they have not been going live consistently. And okay, like for me, for instance, I do have audiences built up, so it doesn't technically apply to me, but let's say someone has never run an ad and they've never gone live and they want to start going live because they want to start building that engagement. Should they run some engagement ads at the beginning, or do they let Facebook organically like figure them out and then start running ads?
That's such a great question. I always say, if you're not familiar with ads and you're brand new to live video, let's say that, okay, even if you know about ads or not, really, if you're brand new to live video, your first 5, 10, 15 really is about getting over those initial nerves. It's
Mm-hmm.
about Not so much your audience engagement from the get-go, especially if you don't have a big audience you're pulling in from an existing one like you have. Let's say you're really kind of starting from scratch, which is a beautiful place to start. This is where you should start.
Mm-hmm.
But the intention and the goal for your first 5, 10, 15, even 20 live videos, which I know sounds like a lot, but what I encourage people who are brand new is to do very short videos that are about 5, maybe 7 minutes long, max in the beginning, but do them more frequently. Not every single day, but what I would do is 4 to 5 a week. Take a
Okay.
few days off, and then, like you're going for like a month of live videos strictly for the practicing. That's it.
Okay.
I want you to practice. I want you to get familiar with the platform. I want you to get familiar with where to look, all those little nuances, because it's a brand new thing for you. So it's a skill. And live video, just like learning how to play an instrument or learning how to speak a new language, it's a lot of things, and allow yourself to be a beginner. So those first few, your goal is to suck less every single time you go on. Try to remember your own name. I know it sounds funny, but when you're first starting off, those are the things that I want you to start focusing on and improving one little baby step at a time. And I'm all about baby steps. I just want you to start. I want you to always have an intention and some kind of little piece of content to share, one little point or a story or something that is going to be beneficial to your audience. The other thing is that for most people, you're not going to have any live viewers, and maybe you'll have 1 or 2, but you're not going to have a flood of people. That is a blessing, my friends. That is so that you can practice. And as you get better, you're going to pull in more people because you're going to become more engaging. You're going to become more interesting. You're going to get better because, again, this is a skill that nobody is good in the beginning. No one's born knowing how to do this. It takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do that, then start pre-advertising. Maybe create a little graphic on Canva or post ahead of time. Give people a couple hours heads up. Notice that you're going live. Let them know what the topic is. And then that way, you're going to get more people in. Cross-promote over other social media platforms if you have an email list, and then bring it in. So while you're building up your confidence, which is what your goal in the beginning should be, confidence, clarity in your messaging, really figuring out what your content pieces are, what you love to talk about, and then just improving your skills of being on camera, that's a lot. And I think that's a lot. And that's all you should focus on. Now, once you get over those initial learning pieces, then cross promote, get people on there, invite them. You'll actually want people to show up and grow. But don't make it about numbers in the beginning. You're going to get into the wrong headspace. And then you're going to be like those average unsuccessful entrepreneurs who give up after 3 live videos, because it's not about that. We want to go for the long game. Always look to the long game. And then once we do that, then it's about constantly improving. It's about figuring out and speaking to people. It's really showing up that way, and you're going to improve that. And then that's when you really start to hone in on those live videos, that's where you want to start thinking about strategically which ones you want to either boost and get more engagement and turn into Facebook ads.
Wow, that is awesome. So basically, you're saying consistency and longevity. Like, you got to be in this for the long game.
Yeah, and just like anything else, for those of you who maybe started off as bloggers, for those of you who do love Instagram, for those of you who create content consistently or semi-consistently somewhere else, if we want to be successful business owners, we have to show up consistently. We have to be reliable. If you are a brand that shows up every now and then, and it's out of the blue, and maybe when you do show up, it's because you have something to sell, like, what does that say to your audience? They're not going to stick around, and they're for sure not going to tell other people about you, and you're not going to grow. And that's what we want to do. How can we impact more people? And we have to do that by getting in front of more people and speaking to them and having conversations. And I love that live video allows you to do that. And whenever I get in front of a new audience, if I'm teaching a master class, I always want it to be on video. And that's something that a lot of us as coaches like yourself, we're doing a lot of teaching live, whether it's on Zoom, maybe it's not on live streaming, or maybe it is in our private Facebook groups. There are so many different ways that live video is such an important cornerstone of our business, whether we're doing it publicly to build our engagement or we're doing it in our private groups to work with our coaching groups or our masterminds, or if you have like a live coaching element to your courses. Imagine all the ways that you're able to serve your.
Okay, so I have a question then. How often do you, I know obviously like you're mostly Facebook Live, but do you think people should still be going live on Instagram as well, since those don't last as long?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I really wish right now, at the time of this recording, Instagram lives are only lasting for 24 hours. And I think it really depends on where your brand currently is. Again, have laser focus and go all in on one thing and then branch out. So if you make a commitment, and to me, I'm always thinking long term, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it for at least a year. And, I would say for Facebook Lives, like really go all in for at least a good 6 months. And then if you already have a presence like you do on Instagram, then maybe the priority is Facebook for businesses, because it's going to be so huge for you, Corie, to have
Mm-hmm.
a bigger Facebook platform. And again, for those audience views, which is going to be so essential for you for your Facebook ad building. But you have a great presence already on Instagram. And so to make it work with your individual schedule with kids and all the different activities that you have in traveling, how can you implement a consistent schedule without overwhelming yourself? That's the question that you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it once a week? Is it once every 10 days? Is it every, I mean, best case scenario? And listen, we can't always do best case scenario, but we want to set like the frequency and the regularity from the get-go. That's our goal, right? We might not reach it every time, but that's our goal. But we don't want to come off as flaky. If we say we're going to commit to our audience and let them know we're going to be on every single Tuesday at 9 a.m., then you better show up for them. But if you can't make that commitment, then can you show up once a week? Can you be the person that at least shows up every now and then? And so figure out what that is for you and add that into your schedule, your content creating schedule, as a secondary priority.
Yeah, that's so true. And I am committing to once a week. And when you put yourself out there and you let people know you're going to do it, like it forces you to do it.
Oh,
So
I love public declarations
yes.
and intentions, and to have other people hold you accountable, because we will let ourselves down super easily, but
Yeah.
we'll do that for others. And so I love that tactic and that strategy. It's so important. But
Yeah.
I really want to encourage most, like just like you, Corie, any of your followers who are similar to you, where you're building your personal brand at any stage, really focus on for business purposes. I'm not talking about vanity numbers and popularity or any of that, but for serious business building purposes, live video. I cannot tell you guys enough how important it is to be able to do that, to create the connection. And it's not just about doing it during our launches. It's really about making it part of our strategy that we do 365 days out of the year, especially in between our launches. But I can't wait for the day that Instagram improves their live video platform. Currently, it still reminds me of like Periscope days. You can't hardwire, you can't use your desktop, you can only go live from your phones. It's pretty janky, but because of that, it's also, there's not a lot of expectations. So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have tech glitches. Tech glitches happen all the time. I think as business owners, whether you're doing webinars, live videos, podcast interviews, we just have to learn how to roll with the punches. Like think fast on your feet and not panic. And that's one of the things that doing live video teaches. But because Instagram currently only lasts for 24 hours, you're not getting those audience engagement building abilities, but it's still a way to connect with people.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you use IGTV at all?
I do a little bit. It's not a major strategy for me. And
Mm-hmm.
the way that I have talked to my friends who really are like the premier huge Instagram gurus out there, and I've been on Instagram for a long time, they're like, it doesn't hurt. If I already have content that I'm using or repurposing my live videos or
Mm-hmm.
creating small videos from big videos, and if I'm doing that anyways for YouTube, if you're doing that, then you might as well put it on IGTV as well.
Right.
It's not a big strategy for me right now. We do use some promotional videos that we only leave up for a certain period of time, but we also remove them. And then the only
Okay.
that I have right there right now currently, it's probably like an introductory, like who am I type of video, like an about me video. And that might be it. But for me, it's not a big part of my strategy, which is totally fine at this point because, again, I'm still really honing in on and concentrating on live video. But I love, for me and for everybody, like stories. Facebook has said, live video and stories is where they're putting their money.
Okay. Yeah. And I agree. And I can see that. And I was just curious about IGTV and repurposing stuff because that was my plan, was to repurpose any of the live videos that I feel like can be viewed for a while, almost evergreenish, to put them on there just to see how they do. But yeah, there really is no strategy other than it's just another place to be seen and heard.
Right. And right now, I mean, as of when this recording, just a couple weeks ago, they made it easier to find the IGTV videos because for a while it was hard to even find them if anybody had any on there. But now they're making the platform easier to use and easier to discover those videos. So if you add an IGTV video, I've noticed now that you can also add a shorter version of it, like an under 60-second version of it on your news feed. And if people want to see the rest of it, they just tap on it and it goes directly there. So they are making it user friendlier.
Yeah.
Which, gives us more incentive and more strategy to be able to put more of our precious time that we are all so very limited on. And that's the thing. None of us has an excess of time. A lot of us waste a lot of time scrolling and mindlessly watching Vanderpump Rules or whatever we do. It's never really about time, but the perception of not having enough time. I know that for all of us, we have so many options to grow our business and our brand that many of us do nothing. So really sit down and think about, what do I want to do? What's my content creation strategy? I always teach my students to make it a no-brainer, to make it easy. I have an easy strategy that we do every single week. Like, it's just a brain dump of content creation. And you do that on the front end of your week. So you're setting yourself up for success. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but that consistency allows you to become a content creating machine. So it's not so hard to do. So it's not like this big pain in the rear to have to think, or worse yet, be in that moment holding your phone going, oh my goodness, it's been days. I haven't shared anything. I haven't gone live. I haven't posted anything to stories. And I know that with the thousands of students that I've been able to coach, it's a momentum thing. Once you get started, it is easier to stay there and continue building upon that momentum versus trying to start and stop. I think that's one of the biggest killers of business building. All the people who constantly start and stop.
100% agree. 100%. And I'm totally guilty of it. Totally guilty.
I am tough love when it comes to getting people to create a really simple strategy. I know simple is not easy though.
Yeah.
It does. Once you create that muscle, it's just like exercise. I always tell myself, don't stop exercising because nothing is worse than starting over and going through that first week of soreness again. I never want to feel that. But if I start and get through that first couple of weeks that are really tough, it's so much easier to stay consistent.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like in our business, really stay consistent. Make it a part of your non-negotiable weekly thing that you do, and then focus on all the good feelings that you get when you get to help one person. And I, like yourself, I really speak to heart-centered entrepreneurs. I really speak to the people who are the world changers. And to be that, regardless of how big your audience is, we have to start with one. We have to start with one person at a time, making one impact at a time, and not getting sucked into that whole popularity game, because that will bring your business down. Who can you impact and help? How can you show up on your live video with the nerves and all the crazy sweating that comes out of every weird pore in your body that you didn't even know that you had? But it happen to you physically when you do live video. I get it, even when you speak on stage. But if we focus on, can I help one person because of whatever it is that I'm sharing today, that is the kind of person that's going to win. That's the kind of person that's going to succeed and ultimately grow bigger and bigger. And if you really look at serving versus just trying to rack up those big popularity numbers, you will stay in it for the long game.
Yeah, that is so true. So, so true. I'm so excited to start implementing this stuff because I know it works. Obviously, I've seen your success, I've seen your students' success. And so I know what you teach is gold. And I just need to be a better student and a better doer. I'm a good listener. I'm just not a good doer. But I'm really excited to see how this goes now that I'm actually committed to it. And like you said, it really was like a shift I had over the last couple months of this isn't about just going live. It's like about the long game. It's about building those audiences. It's about building that trust. It really truly is like the best way you can fast track your business.
Yes. And I know like in our space where people are launching their beta courses or new programs and new courses, like everyone's launching a course. Here's the thing. If you want to be the small percentage of people who actually succeed in this, because it's possible, there's so much room for this. Let me tell you, everyone's starting and stopping and quitting. But the thing is, if you stick with it for the long game and you're really understanding that if you have one focus and you constantly and consistently show up, that when it comes time to finally promoting and selling what it is that you do, it becomes easy because you're not all of a sudden showing up out of nowhere, which is what most people do. And the first time people meet you is not the time to also in the next breath sell them something.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. So good. Oh my gosh, I have like so much I want to do and implement now. You get me all fired up. And it is so true that starting and stopping, and it can be really hard at the beginning.
It is. I get it. Like, I know that nowadays, more than ever, it's something that I think is really challenging for most people who are starting from scratch, that building an audience is not the same thing that it was when I first started just 3-4 years ago, that it's become more challenging. And to be able to build an audience 100% organically, to be able to grow and do 6 figures your first year and do multiple six after that, I can no longer do that 100% organically, but I can do it smarter. I can do it more strategically. I can do it at far less costs than what average people, are paying out there. Then it's because the people who do live video, the people who can create more organic engagement on their pages on Facebook, as well as Instagram, because they work together, but really on Facebook for business building purposes. I know I've said that 10 times now, but it's the thing I want to shake people. I'm like, you can't complain about cost of ads or not having organic reach if you're not utilizing the most powerful thing that Mark Zuckerberg is literally serving to you on a silver platter.
Yeah. For sure. It is. It's so important. And I'm so thankful to know that and for you to like reiterate that to me because it's not about like vanity or getting famous. It's really about like, it's a piece of the strategy of building your business. So
And
I'm,
there's so many examples that we both know. So many people. I want all of your amazing audience to really think about not everybody who has a huge audience, like hundreds of thousands or 50,000 followers. It's not about those numbers. There's a lot of people with big numbers who are successful, but there's a lot of people with big numbers that don't make a penny online, even though they seem super fancy and super cool, but they're not actually monetizing. They don't have a business. And there's a whole lot of us who have very small, yet very, very engaged and very, very loyal audiences who we're just equally, if not more, loyal back to our amazing audiences that we have. But we don't have huge audiences yet. We have thriving businesses that keep showing up and growing year after year after year. And we know so many people in common where that's exactly true. So you don't need those numbers. What you need is the right engaged quality audience. And that's why we want to do video. That is the push that's going to get us past those first few videos where we have 0 people coming on live. But here's the thing I want everyone to remember. Even if you're The Rock, and The Rock was the very first person I saw do a Facebook Live. And even if you're The Rock and you have millions of fans, you're still going to get far more views on your replay than you will on your live. It doesn't matter if you're me or Corie or you're doing your first live video. We all get more views on the replay. So that's part of the strategy and part of the practice and part of figuring out what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, and skills that you're going to develop over time.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to start. You have to allow yourself to be a beginner, suck less every single time, and know that you're having conversations with people both live, whether you have them yet, but more importantly, you will for sure be having conversations with people and impacting lives through the replay. And if you stick with it, you're going to give them a reason to stop their scroll, stop whatever crazy thing is happening in their life so that they can watch you. Think about what an amazing gift that is to be able to get people to stop their busyness so they can listen to you. So how could you ever complain about only having 1 or 2 live viewers if that is what we're able to do with live video? You'll never complain about that. You'll never say that I only had 2 people. You will treasure the people who stop their scroll in order to listen to you and to watch you. Like, you will never take that for granted.
Yeah. Wow. That is so good. That is really, really good because I catch myself in that sometimes, like watching that number, like, oh, shoot, 1, 2, 3, like, come on, but it's so true. And I even like teach my own, like, clients and groups, like, same thing. But you do have to get past that because the replay for sure is being watched by a lot more people.
Yes, absolutely.
And it has changed the way I even show up. Instead of being like, hi, like, tell me if you can hear me, like that kind of stuff. I'm just like, thanks for watching the replay. Like, I learned that from you.
Oh yeah, I speak directly to the live viewers and the replay viewers. So
That's awesome.
you learn that over time. You learn that by studying yourself. And yes, watching your replays. I do that still all the time. Like, think of the best athletes out there. They can't get better at what they do unless they watch the game video and review what worked and what didn't. And so whether it's rereading your blogs or reading your sales copy, if you're trying anything that you're getting better at, copy, video, speaking skills, we have to review what it is that we do so that we can look at ourselves from a loving and honest point of view, not to beat ourselves up, but so that we can know what to improve on next time.
Wow, that's really good. That is really good advice. Okay, so I have 2 questions that I ask all of my guests. And the first one is, what is one piece? Well, I guess I probably know what you're going to say, but what is one piece of advice that you have for someone that is just starting out as an entrepreneur?
Oh, well, you thought I was going to say do live video.
Yes.
Live video, but honestly, I think my best piece of advice I would give to someone that's just starting out is to give yourself grace and know that nothing happens overnight. That when you have a bigger why behind what it is that you do, that if you're truly a heart-centered entrepreneur, if you're coming from a place of service, then it's going to be worth that initial growth ugly period. Out, like, go through it, experience it. There's a lot of things that you're going to be learning for the first time, and you're going to be able to do all of it because there's lots of us out there who have done it. And if we can do it, you can do it. So the tech stuff, it's never been easier, but it's a lot of new. So just take one little baby step at a time. Focus and understand, especially if you're launching a product or a course or a service, that your first launch is not your last launch. That everything that you do is an experience for you to learn and to improve upon the next time. You're never going to be one and done. You're not going to start and stop. You're going to continue, and every experience is just more experience and more life practical experience for you to be able to improve every single time you rinse and repeat.
That is so good. That is such great advice. Okay. The last question is, what does living on purpose look like to you?
It's living intentionally. It's living conscientiously. It's about not floating through life, but enjoying the ride and also just really living with intention. That's huge for me.
And you are super intentional. I can see that in your stories and videos because, yeah, you do. You're taking your life like into your own hands and being intentional with how you spend your days and what you do with your business and, what you do with your husband and your health and all of that. So I think that's great. You practice what you preach.
Thank you.
So, where can my audience find you?
you can find me everywhere online on Facebook and Instagram under Coach Glitter. And my website is coachglitter.com. And depending on when you're listening to this, we are going to be relaunching my group coaching program, Lights Camera Branding. We only launch it a couple times a year. And again, depending on when you're listening to this, but if it's prior to the middle of April, if you're interested, you can get on my wait list and we'll be doing a live video series to kick it off. But that you can find under no, I should probably know the name of it. It's camerabranding.com.
Okay. And I will have links to all of that in the show notes so that you guys can get signed up, because everything that Tiffany teaches is gold and is going to help you grow your business. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your expertise with us today. I truly appreciate you taking your time and being on the show.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. This was so fun. And this is what we do. We just have conversations and we talk about what it is that we're passionate about and how we help people.
Yes, I love it. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Tiffany. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Wow, you guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did. And I am so excited because I actually just started a brand new Facebook page, and I cannot wait to implement all of the things that Tiffany shared in this episode so that I can grow that audience really fast and just move my business forward. So if you guys want any more information about Tiffany or her program, anything else, go ahead and look at the show notes or go to CorieClark.com/17 and I will have links to all of Tiffany's stuff. Thanks you guys so much for tuning in, and I will be back here on Friday with a bonus episode of Purpose. All right, you guys, have a great day.